Hey guys, Ed from Paranormal Inc. Ohio here, back at it again with another podcast episode. Yes, we are now going to have podcasts every single day of the week. That way you guys don't have to miss out on any of the content that I put on here for you guys. You guys can always have what you want to hear. So tonight's podcast episode is going to be about the ZoZo demon. Yes, the ZoZo demon. I don't like talking about the ZoZo demon so much because I've had, I think, an encounter with the ZoZo demon at one time, and it was very, very, very scary. And I'll tell you that too, as well as go through the history of ZoZo and how he's come about and all to deal with ZoZo. So, I've done my research. I looked everything up. I mean, I've done my research for a very long time on ZoZo, and it's terrifying. 100% just terrifying. So I'm going to read from my research notes and just wait till you guys hear this. Ouija boards occupy a significant spot in supernatural folklore. Dabblers in the occult have probably tried to communicate with the dead using one of these famous spirit boards. Curious horror lovers have likely heard at least the allegedly true story from someone whose attempt to use a Ouija board went terribly wrong. Even people with no interest in the paranormal may have spotted a Ouija board for sale in a toy store. Different impressions aside, the fact remains that the Ouija boards have a spooky mystique. Whether or not they truly allow users to communicate with the other side, the possibility has caused no small amount of excitement and fear. Wouldn't it be cool if you could talk to the dead? Some people actually think so. On the flip side, using a Ouija board is not without risk. No one would ever accuse any occult ritual of being safe, and spirit boards are no different. Numerous cautionary tales abroad, depending on where you use the board, you might invite something into your space, and that something may never want to leave. You might have set out to communicate with your recently departed aunt, but something else may masquerade as your dead relative instead. And perhaps the most possibility of all, if you don't close your session with the Ouija board properly, typically by moving the planchette across the word goodbye, you might open a portal to the spirit world. Fans of the supernatural have probably heard stories about all the above. Ouija board users aren't shy about sharing their unexplained experiences, and in today's digital age, these stories can now be shared online, where they can spread across the internet to inspire people everywhere. In March 2009, Darren Evans shared his own personal experiences with an Ouija board on the online site True Ghost Tales. His story revolves around encounters with a specific entity named ZoZo. These interactions follow a pattern recognizable in people familiar with the Ouija board sessions gone awry. The entity first manifested as a friendly spirit, but subsequent communications reveal its true hostile nature. According to Evans, ZoZo proceeded to threaten him and his loved ones. For example, Evans claimed his then-girlfriend underwent a stark personality change after the entity declared its intention to possess her. The problems didn't end there. Allegedly, his young daughter nearly drowned in a bathtub and would later be hospitalized for a mysterious infection. While these incidents can easily be explained away as coincidences, Evans sincerely believed he and his family were under demonic attack by ZoZo. Less easily explained away were the strange occurrences around his home. House guests said they heard voices coming from inside the walls, lights would turn on and off by themselves, doors would unlock and open without any help. All these incidents are classic hallmarks of a haunting, possibly by an entity who used a spirit board as a conduit into our world and now refuses to leave. Given these unusual experiences, you think Evans would stop using the Ouija board. Even the most hardened skeptic would probably decide to have things alone at this point. And by all accounts, Evans was the opposite of a skeptic. But by his own admission, he kept using the spirit board despite warning other people away from any encounter with an entity that calls itself ZoZo. Despite Evans' tale not being especially unique from other unlucky Ouija board encounters, ZoZo would go on to take over the paranormal world. Evans' encounter went viral, and more alleged ZoZo stories sprouted up across the internet, many of which ended up being retold on various podcasts and covered by many YouTube channels, such as my own. The stories typically allowed a similar pattern to traditional Ouija board encounter. A person holds a session with a Ouija board. They communicate with an entity that may start out friendly but always ends up hostile. Sometimes strange occurrences take place during the session or begin shortly after, but in every one of these encounters, the entity identifies itself as ZoZo. While the number of alleged ZoZo encounters exploded after the original posting on True Ghost Tales, Evans himself claims to have read other stories recounting similar interactions, again, I can't read my words, before sharing his experiences online. So what's going on here? Is ZoZo a real entity that has contacted unsuspecting dabblers of spirit boards throughout history? Is ZoZo an internet urban legend that inspired similar stories, the same way that Slender Man created an entire mythos at the height of his popularity? Or, as Evans claimed, is ZoZo something much older, something that predates the internet itself? Whether or not you believe Evans' account or the many others like it, the fact remains that the name ZoZo does appear throughout history. One of the earliest mentions can be found in Le Dictionnaire Infernal, first published in 1816. Within its pages, author Jacques Auguste Simon Colin de Plancy tells the story of a girl possessed by 3 demons, one of which was named ZoZo. But less acknowledged is that within the same text, de Plancy would go to assert that the girl's story was untrue. The declaration isn't without merit because the girl was previously punished for false claims of demonic possession. Other people think the name ZoZo comes from Pazuzu, a Mesopotamian deity said to be the king of demons associated with the wind. According to ancient religious beliefs, he caused famine and brought locusts down upon the people. The name Pazuzu sounds familiar. There's a good reason horror aficionados will recognize him as the demon that possesses Regan in The Exorcist. And yes, we are going to talk about Pazuzu tonight on our live as well. That's why tonight at 8 p.m. is the podcast. Tonight at 10 p.m. is the live on Facebook. If these details do little to convince you of ZoZo's actual existence, you're not alone. It does sound subsequently like someone cobbled together various tidbits of supernatural lore to gain internet stardom. True or not, the ZoZo story followed in the footsteps of many viral sensations before it and inspired a feature-length film, I Am ZoZo. A psychological thriller was released in 2012 to mixed reviews. And I watched it and it was alright, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was alright. The movie revolves around 5 teenagers who play the Ouija board on Halloween and inadvertently summon a demon. The film drew inspiration from the numerous ZoZo stories in circulation at the time. For his part, Darren Evans would later appear on Ghost Adventures. He would also publish a book about his experience in 2016. In both instances, he added more details to his alleged ZoZo encounters, which only cast more doubt on the veracity of his claims. Memory is fallible, and it's true that some details of incidents may come to us later, but skeptics point to the further embellishment as the actions of someone wishing to remain relevant. We may never know if Darren Evans made it up his original ZoZo encounter. We do know that despite his claims of other ZoZo stories having been shared online at the time of the first posting, they have never been found nevertheless. The entity caught the attention of the internet and other dabblers in the occult. Even if ZoZo himself may not be real, we cannot deny that there are many stories of a Ouija board sessions gone awry. Perhaps the truth is something similar and something simpler. He gives a unified name to a common experience shared by spirit board users who accidentally contact a hostile spirit. So guys, I know I told you that I had maybe had an experience with the ZoZo demon, And I've had this on YouTube, and I've had this on Facebook as a ghost story. A friend of mine was having some problems. He played with the Ouija board, and we went there. I started doing an investigation, and this was before I really didn't want to use the Ouija board, but I wanted to see what he was talking about. So I kind of wanted to, redo everything that he did to try to find out what happened. Long story short, the same things happened. It got dark, it got ominous, it got so much dread. And then the planchette would go from Z to O, Z, O, Z, O, Z, O, Z, O. And it was terrifying. It was just absolutely terrifying to me. And it messed with him for a very long time. Just like when I played with the Ouija board when I was younger at my parents' house, and whatever I conjured up followed me for a long time, a lot of years. So like I've always said, the Ouija boards are very dangerous tools to use. I don't recommend using them at all. They're doorways to something very bad. So that's tonight's episode of the podcast, guys. Don't forget, 10 p.m. tonight, we are going to be live on Facebook for the Pazuzu Demon. And then tomorrow, that'll be tonight at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow at 10 p.m., we're going to do another live investigation of my haunted dolls. So I hope to see you guys there. Of course, you can go to paranormalincohio.com. That is the main business page. There you can check out some old ghost stories, ghost hunts. You can also see our crystals and the powers that they have. Our necklaces, bracelets, pendants, everything, jewelry to go along with the crystals. Check out our sage bundles for all cleansing needs. From there, you go to Paranormal Inc. Ohio group. That is our group page on Facebook. There, we talk about everything paranormal. You guys give me ideas for shows. I do the research, I do the show, and then I have you guys on the show, or I give you a shout out. There, you can go to Paranormal Inc. Ohio on TikTok and YouTube. There, I am putting on ghost hunts, ghost stories. I am now uploading podcast episodes on YouTube and partial podcast episodes on TikTok. And of course, on every podcast platform out there is the Paranormal Inc. Ohio podcast. So that is every night now. Sunday through Sunday at 10 p.m. will be a new episode of the podcast on every podcast platform out there. I love you guys oh so very much. Thank you all for coming and checking out the episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you guys so much again. Bye, everybody.